So today we're actually focusing on the support that is happening in Niger right now.
Oh yeah.
So we know that there is the coup that has happened or unfolded, I guess, over the
Yeah.
last couple of
Yeah.
weeks. But what's happened afterwards has been more interesting, I think, than the coup itself. And that is who exactly is stepping up to support Niger and who isn't.
Yeah. Do you know that the US never called it a coup yet?
That's
That's one.
interesting.
Second,
Yeah.
US didn't step in to support France either.
That is also very
So that tells you
interesting.
right there. This is the reason I'm mentioning this, guys, is because that's what the heart at geopolitics. It's
Yeah.
all about interest. It is because the US, a lot of people do not know here in the US that
Mhm.
we get a lot of uranium also from
Yep.
that part of the world.
Yep.
So, but France has main interests on that. So, and we will be sharing some very maps to show you where things are.
Right.
So, but you're absolutely correct. So the focus on this, we're going to be focusing on this support that Niger is getting.
Yeah.
Actually, believe it or not, there are more than one country now supporting Niger.
There is, and it's interesting to note which countries those actually are.
There are 5.
Let's dive into them because
Yeah.
they're very interesting.
Well,
And
we can
I think
only
they're not-
focus on 2 main ones.
Yes.
There are 5 countries. You have Algeria.
Mhm.
Just to put this in perspective for you guys, you need to see the map so you'll understand exactly how the layout of the land is, because without the map, it won't make sense to you. So I'm going to leave the map on here for a while. So you get Algeria right here.
Yes.
Can you see, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I can see it.
So
I
you
think they
got
can see it.
Algeria, you got Mali, you got Burkina Faso.
Mhm.
Those are 3, right?
Yep.
You get Guinea. Yeah, Guinea is also part of it. Then now you have, of course, Russia. As a matter of fact, now I feel comfortable saying 6.
Yeah.
Then you have North Korea.
North Korea.
Whoever thought, right?
Jeez.
So we're going to focus on the 2.
Yeah.
Russia and
North Korea.
So why is this important? Well, it is important for many reasons. Always think in geopolitics, think strategic.
Yeah.
So the strategic thing falls under 2 elements.
Yeah.
Economics.
Yep.
And of course, access.
Yeah.
Well, access to economic resources, but also access to political.
Yeah.
To the government. So here's the shocking news. Did you know that the top 5 commanders that conducted coup in Niger were trained by the US?
Yes, which is very interesting. We talked about that in one of our other Niger videos a couple of weeks or a week ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And that is that the amount of, and it was very interesting. I played a clip from a hearing actually on basically how many African coup leaders has the US actually trained. And so it was very interesting because the general didn't know. He didn't know. He didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't buy that for 1 second. Yeah. But what he said basically was that the US had trained 50,000 soldiers in Africa.
That is true.
He said that less than 1% were involved in coups. But he had no metric for why he had no information for how he got that number, right? But let's say even if it was 500 people, that's still a massive amount of people when you're looking at the coups here. So the US actually does have a pretty substantial presence in Niger and all over Africa.
Yeah.
Now, there's a really important reason why they do, though. Because, like we always talk about, what is in Africa?
Resources, yeah.
Resources.
Yeah.
Massive resources.
So the top general, Abdurrahman Tiani, he's known also Tiani, that's how they pronounce it, Chiani or Tiani, either or. He's the one that conducted, he's the head of the presidential guard and so forth.
Yep.
And he attended 1 year at the American Defense University in Washington, D.C. That's usually for why. But that's not the point on all this. The key that we want you to get from this video, guys, especially this segment here, you have to understand now why North Korea has stepped up or reestablished its diplomatic ties with Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Not Niger, Burkina Faso. Why is this important? Because, and by the way, North Korea had previously ties to those countries.
Yeah.
It was in 2006, I believe. That's where the diplomatic ties were cut off. Why? Because the leadership back then in Burkina Faso were supported by the West. Remember, France was very present in Mali till it got kicked out by none other than this guy here. I'm going to share a picture with you guys.
The colonials are not popular anymore.
This is Ibrahim Traoré. And by the way, do you guys know, I'm going to share something with you here that wasn't disclosed in the West. Did you know when he took power through the coup? Of course, we're not going to, some will not perceive coup is a good thing, but you know what he did as soon as he took the coup, he took power? He gave up his salary.
Yeah, that's right.
That is the first thing
he gave up his salary.
And his arguments, this is where you guys need to understand that now the geopolitical landscape in Africa is changing because the new leadership, the young leaders that conducted the same thing in Mali, is a young guy too. Now you got the Niger. Yes, they have some generals that's a little bit older, but it's still overall. All this is a reflection of those changes in the dynamics within the geopolitical landscape.
Yep.
Now you ask yourself, what the heck is North Korea doing there?
What is North Korea?
Big. What is North Korea known for? Missile technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now the question is how do they develop that nuclear technology?
Right.
I'm sorry, missile technology.
Yeah.
Through Russia.
Yep.
Remember, North Korea is client of both Russia and China.
And China too.
But mainly, to my knowledge, as one who spent time in Washington.
Yeah.
So when you do geopolitical analysis, you're going to have to know the ins and outs of countries. And we can share it here with our viewers. Why not? The idea that the reason why we never dare to attack North Korea because of the nuclear weapons.
Well, and they don't have a particularly their leadership in the last few decades has been less than stable, I think.
Which one?
Here's what I mean by that.
Which one?
Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il.
The family.
Yeah, the family. And I don't mean stable in the sense that, like, yes, obviously there has been like a line of succession. What I mean in terms of stability is volatility, in terms that I don't think they would bluff if that was something that, and the US is, I think, also agrees with that, that they absolutely would not bluff. And like Putin in his own right, I don't necessarily, this whole situation is very complex. But
no, hold on. You're talking to, because they are confusing for our viewers.
Oh, yes.
North Korea, separate from Russia.
They are, but they're both nuclear powers.
I know, but the idea of, you have to understand how the system operates in North Korea.
Yeah.
And how the system operates in former Soviet Union or Russia.
Yes.
Both of them are communism, right?
Right.
The idea of the stability in North Korea, it's always there. The reason being because it is centralized, controlled by one family.
Right.
Now, how the family maintained that one? It's by even executing even the closest members of the family that can not toe the line.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, yesterday, the day before, Kim Jong-un just dismissed the head of the army. The entire army. He just dismissed him.
Yeah.
He's lucky he's not neutralized.
No, absolutely. He's absolutely lucky.
Do you know, I'm going to share this with you guys too. Do you know how, when they execute somebody in North Korea, what they use?
Isn't it a firing squad?
What type?
I don't know what type of
50 cal.
Ugh.
You know what a 50 cal will do to the body?
Yikes. I would basically tear it apart.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention this because this way our viewers will not get so confused.
Yeah, and I know the comments would be like, no, it's not
I know.
No, and that's not what I mean. I don't mean familially unstable, because familially they do. I mean, it's very clear what they do, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What I mean is, for example, Putin, one of the things that I think is very prudent, and I'm very grateful that even with everything that's going on, there has not been a situation where Putin has said, I am using nuclear force. He has not done that. And there have been times where they've threatened it and pushed it, but he has not come out and done it. And I think that there are circumstances in which North Korea would not be so prudent. And I am so although this is like a huge mess of a situation, and in many people's opinions, Putin would actually have every right to take care of his country in that particular way, I am very grateful that it did not start World War III. And I don't personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't think that North Korea would hesitate in the same way.
Yes, it won't. Same with Russia also. It won't.
So I'm very curious about this.
Well,
what
it's
do you
because
think?
Russia has its in its own military doctrine.
Yeah.
I did the research about the book that I wrote about Russia.
Yeah.
And I confirmed that it's known for us in the military jargon as AD-A2 or A2-AD.
Mm-hmm.
That's the code for it, the military jargons.
Yeah.
Basically, all it means is that the Russians reserves the right to deploy nuclear weapon
Absolutely.
first.
Absolutely.
This is not a preemptive strike. This is in their doctrine that if ever they feel threatened, the sovereignty or security of the nation is under threat, they will not hesitate to launch it.
What I'm saying is, I'm grateful they haven't.
Well, yeah, of course,
like,
because
I'm very,
we don't
very
know what
glad
it
they
means,
haven't.
On the other hand, for North Korea is different ball game altogether.
Mm-hmm.
North Korea's survival. This is why, to tie it back to our topic. Why all of a sudden North Korea has come into the scene in a big way, geopolitically.
Yeah.
Because many will ask, what the heck is North Korea doing in?
That's a great question.
You have to think about two things.
Yeah.
What does Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali have in common? Uranium.
Yeah.
What does North Korea need to develop its stuff?
Right.
Uranium.
Yeah.
So that's just common sense. That's one. The second thing has to do with North Korea has always sold its weapons or armaments into Africa.
Yeah.
Now, the way you look at this is almost North Korea saying to Burkina Faso, we're here to help.
Yep.
Because they already have a grudge with the West. And that's the best opportunity, because what North Korea will end up doing for Burkina Faso and in return for Niger is upgrading the armaments.
Yeah.
Because who was supporting both Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali, for that matter, it was France.
Yep.
Now France is out of the picture.
Yeah.
They kicked them out.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I did read that France violated the airspace of Niger, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Why is this? It's because if you, the West, saying member of the West, claiming the international order and so forth, how come you went ahead and violated the? Now, when France tried to say this, Niger said, bring it on.
Yeah.
Mali stepped in. Burkina Faso stepped in. Algeria stepped in. Of course, for Algeria, it's because it has grudge.
Yep.
If you only know the atrocities France committed in Algeria.
Right.
So,
well, this is definitely one of the big moments where we're looking at Africa kicking out the colonializing countries, and for good reason. I think I even in history books, even when I was a kid, the history books were talking about the atrocities that the colonialists did in Africa. I mean, it's one of the big reasons we have slavery here, or we had slavery here. I mean, huge atrocities that were committed. So I think that it's very interesting that this is happening right now, and the internet is apparently calling this World War Africa. Because what we're looking at here is we're looking at the Western countries. We're looking at the US, we're looking at France, we're looking at the colonializing countries, and versus Russia, China, and now North Korea. And they're all sort of battling it out in these African countries. And that's something that isn't really being talked about. And so Russia and North Korea have actually recently strengthened their ties. So they have historically had ties, absolutely. But in the last maybe month or so, Kim Jong-un had a meeting with Russia's defense minister,
Sergei Shoigu. Yeah,
yes.
He went over to Pyongyang. Actually, he wanted to deliver a letter.
Yes.
But here is the fascinating
from Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, here is the fascinating thing about that. A week after the visit of Shoigu, the diplomatic ties were established between Burkina Faso and North Korea.
Yes.
And all of them happened right after what? The African-Russian summit.
Yeah.
That's why I always say nothing happens in a vacuum in geopolitics.
And nothing, you're absolutely right. And Russia forgave, I think it was $23 billion in debt.
Yeah, 20 billion.
yeah,
Yes,
something
I
like
read
that,
up on it. Yes.
in debt for Africa,
Mhm.
and promised them free grain. I mean, this is absolutely Russia saying to Africa, we
We're
are
here.
in
Yeah.
this with you.
Yeah.
So it's also very so as I was reading, I was reading the information about this. One of the funniest things that I actually came across
Yeah.
is that during the banquet, Shoigu he praised the North Korean military as the most powerful in the world. So there's some interesting dynamics that are happening there, and some very specific politics that are happening there, because the most powerful in the world, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but also it's in a way to highlight the idea of how, for example, countries, because for us here in the US, we know attacking North Korea is not an option. Because we know what's going to happen.
Because I don't think they'll bluff, quite frankly.
The fact they developed an ICBM, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, which means they will be within reach here in the US. Now, here is the thing that the US will not disclose, of course. Does North Korea have nuclear weapon?
The answer has to be yes. I mean, the amount of whispers about it, the answer has to be yes.
They do, except that we're having a hard time finding out exactly how many they have. Now, there are some accounts, at least when I was, and it's nothing classified here. I'm just sharing if you know where to look for the information, you kind of, there is some, I'm trying to put one particular picture here to share it with our viewers here, but
let's see. I don't see it, David.
Hold on a second here. Let me, because it's worth seeing for our viewers to put things in perspective. So the idea of North Korea, it's having the here, I'm saving it here, having the idea of nuclear weapons. So and this is why we are thinking twice about even conducting or even black ops. We couldn't even do that. We had a hard time, or we're still having a hard time gaining access to North Korea.
Yeah, and
from an intelligence perspective. And this is why the Kim family, it's always been that, you remember the half brother of Kim who was assassinated in Indonesia or Malaysia, one of those. So that is the reason why. It's because we know that they're gonna be responding.
If they're willing to do that to their own family, I mean,
they will. So I don't know. I can't get that picture here.
That's
but
okay.
Anyway, it's not a problem. So, but to understand this within this perspective.
Oh no, it's up.
No, this is different.
Okay, it's a different picture.
When you look at this whole region, why is this important? I mean, when you look at the distance from all the way the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea and Indian Ocean, and this is where the wealth, most of the wealth is natural resources. So and this is why now you have North Korea, but you have a Russia. The Wagner group is going back. As a matter of fact, I read some reports where they are already on their way to Niger.
So do you want to do that topic next, or do you want to do the oil pipeline?
The oil pipeline will be the key, because here's the reason why also Russia now all of a sudden providing support for that. Russia is also thinking in terms of strategic access.
Absolutely.
Uranium, even though Russia produces uranium, but it's always nice to
absolutely.
For North Korea, while I'm remembering the two main things, uranium and gold.